welcome to another Corrective Culture podcast. With me right now is Kellen Krause. How you going, buddy?
Hello, mate. Just enjoying our cup of bone broth we got going on right here.
We got a nice bone broth, and today we've got a pretty special episode. We tried to set it up on a Zoom meeting, but we're pretty rookie getting used to it. Well, I am anyway. Some internet difficulties, so we're just going to call the Mr. Paul Showtime Fleming and have a bit of a audio podcast with him. We'll still put the video of us up on here if you want to watch, but yeah, this should be a pretty cool podcast, and I hope you enjoy. We're going to give him a call now. He knows we're calling, so let's go.
Yo.
We got ya.
Cool.
How you going, man?
Yeah, good, dude. Good. Yeah, spewing about the internet without the video, but we can do it this way. This way it'll still be all good.
Yeah, man, it sounds good. Like on our end, it sounds awesome. So I'm sure the listeners will be pumped.
Perfect.
Yeah. So you've been pretty busy down there, eh? That was a sick fight you had, and fuck, we were pumped for it, man. I had butterflies watching you walk out like that. It was just crazy.
Yeah, it was a bit of a time out, man. Like 2 years out, and the anticipation, like there's a few times, when you start getting older and start slowing down, you've had a few like opportunities that you should have had go your way, not go your way, and just things just haven't worked out exactly like you'd planned, and you've had so long out, you start to. There's points in the camp where you start questioning your body's ability and your where you are mentally, whether you're able to come back and do what you did 2 years ago. You start questioning that, and yeah, man, it was good to get through the camp and have a few little injuries overcome and get through the camp, and then the big battle of getting the weight off, that's always a big thing, and getting that weight off was the biggest battle, and then getting back in there was awesome. I felt good. I felt really good, and
looks sick, man.
Feeling about how it ended, but that's just how it goes.
For sure. Yeah. But the coolest thing, man, I thought was the dance on the way in, man. It gave me goosebumps. I thought it was sick. Like it was just fucking cool as fuck.
Yeah, man. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. That was a plan. And I try and use my platform to, not saying that I've got this amazing, crazy platform or anything like that, but I use whatever platform I have to kind of promote, positive Indigenous people. And, me being one, I'm a positive Indigenous person. I come from a lot of similar situations and backgrounds as a lot of these kids, and I was able to succeed, and I had a lot of roadblocks and a lot of things I had to overcome in my life to get where I am. And not saying where I am is amazing, and I made it this far. I've still got so much more I want to achieve, but to even make it here where I am now, I've defied a lot of odds. I've defied a lot of statistics and stuff. So yeah, pretty happy with that.
And nice to meet you too, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know you through the gram and everything. And,
same.
And through Jakey here. So yeah, nice to formally meet you.
Yeah, you too, right, man. It was pretty cool. Mark Hunt shared that walkout, and he said it gave him goosebumps and stuff. And Jake showed it to me too, and it was awesome. Hey, it's pretty cool that Mark Hunt's. Yeah. You know what I mean? Sharing that stuff. And it was like this. That was like the favorite bit of the night.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool, and I've got a lot of positive feedback about that. And I've got a few other things that I'm doing, and I'm kind of going to try and use my platform and my story and everything. I want to all my life lessons and everything I've ever had to overcome and all that stuff. I want to kind of use that platform as a all that as a platform to do more work with people and help heal people and, help, put people in the right direction and, show them that, you can achieve things and, not follow statistics and all that. It was awesome of Mark sharing it. You know what I mean? You know, it gets the word out there more. You know.
Yeah, fucking oath. That's what I remember having a really good conversation with you, probably about, I don't know, 6-8 months ago now. And because we've known each other a long time, probably going on like 10 years, really?
It's been a friend whack,
Yeah, and I've just watched you grow, you know, from when we were boxing in the at Extreme or whatever it was out at with Kim Gray,
Yeah.
I watched you grow so much, man, like spiritually, and then I had that call with you, and you were doing if you don't mind me talking about it, like the DMT and things like that. That's what we were really hoping to rip into today, was get like a bit more of a deeper look into you, and you know, how far you've come. It's so inspiring to see, you know, like all the boxing stuff's fucking awesome, man, but just to see you grow as a human is like, that's what inspires me like crazy.
That's a crazy experience. What we've talked about, and I share it with a few people, and I share, you know, certain people, because it still is a bit of a taboo kind of thing, and you know, I don't like to promote it and anything like that, because it is, you know, it does come with its problems and that, and I don't like to promote it or anything like that. And you know, you have to be in a place of, I was probably in one of the worst places I've ever been, mentally, spiritually, physically, in my life. Like, I was going through a lot of stuff, and you know, I had no other answers. You know, I had to how I was feeling, and you know, I just stumbled across DMT, and I ended up. I knew a lot about it before I'd even tried it. You know, I'd watched a lot of things, and watched a lot of documentaries and people's accounts of it, and you know, read a lot of studies about it, and so I was really informed about it before I'd even actually got my hands on it. And I had a crazy experience on it, and then it kind of just changed the whole trajectory of my life and the way I think of things and view things. And you know, I started painting about 3 to 4 weeks after I tried it for the first time, and you know, I've never painted anything in my life. I never touched a paintbrush, never put a paintbrush to paper. I think the last time was in grade 8, when you had to try every subject at high school, and then you know, when you're first year, you try everything, you know, and that's the last time I done art. And then, I don't know how to explain that. That's not, that's not a weird. It's, you know, you can look at things and go, oh, it's just a, you know, it's just a coincidence. You know, you can brush everything away as a coincidence, but when do you start kind of questioning, like, that's a pretty weird coincidence? But I have no other explanations for it.
That's spot on. And when you did do it, were you doing it by yourself? Did you just sit in the room, do it by yourself, or were you with people?
Yeah, I did it. Well, I did it twice in one night. So the first time I did it, I was like sitting in the living room with the TV on, and then like a bit happened enough because I'd never had an experience of psychedelics before. I'd never tried them, any of them. I was always too scared of it. But at that point in my life, I was like, what do I got to be scared about? Like, I'm in a real dark place, and it doesn't really, like, I don't really, if this is a possibility of giving me some answers about my life and where I'm going, because I read a lot about it, you know, ayahuasca and DMT, and how it can open up things and make you view life, because I was at a really bad place. So anything was better than nothing. And it really did change my life. It changed my life dramatically, opened me up to all possibilities and probabilities, and gave me a possible other career doing art. I say it's from that. I don't know. I can't 100% tell you that it's 100% from that, but I just have to follow my gut instinct, and it says that that's what happened.
That's so cool. Yeah, like I've tried it once in my life, and it wasn't. I didn't really know much about it or anything. It was so disrespected really. Like I just sort of did it in a bunch of boys. Everyone's smoking billies, you know what I mean? They're like, oh, chuck some of this on top of your billy. You know what I mean? And that was my approach to it. But for me, it showed me that like magic was real. And I was like, oh wow, like there's whole other, like we see things with our eyes and listen with our ears and that, but there was this whole other part that I was like, oh, that's possible. Like I didn't know you could go there. And the fact that like,
well, isn't it weird? Isn't it weird when you think about it? Like things that back 100, 200, 300, 400 years ago, if we showed them things that we do now, they'll be like, that's magic. There's no way you can see an X-ray. You can take a photo and see someone's bones inside their body. That's magic. There's no way. That's magic. That's your bones inside your body, but it's a photo. So that's all. Maybe magic, what we think is magic, is just things that we haven't come to understand yet. Because 300 years ago, they couldn't understand a lot of things.
Yeah.
And if you were doing the things 300 years ago, they'd be like, you were literal Gandalf the Grey. But, now, what's people going to be doing? What are people going to create? What's things that are going to happen now that we're going to look at and go, wow, if someone was doing that, we would have thought that was magic.
Yeah, for sure, man. Like people that have a too literal experience of the universe, like sometimes you just got to think we're in a fucking ball flying through space right now, and people want to see aliens and shit, and you just got to go look at a praying mantis and think, well, is that not alien enough for you? Like everything's so magic, and that's. I remember Paul Check talking about when you start to get depressed or down, it's when you lose your sense of awe with the world. When you look at everything like, wow, like that's fucking amazing. Like when I look at the moon at night and look up, like, man, look at that. Imagine 1,000 years ago, people would have looked at that and thought that's a god in the sky right now. And now we know what it is. It's a moon, but that's still a fucking god in the sky to me. You know what I mean? Like that's still up there, and it's amazing.
Yeah, it's when you lose your awe for things. Like I'm just like, I suffer with ADHD like my whole life, and it's like when my brain started to slow down when I hit my 30s, I started really thinking about life and things and that, and that's when I kind of lost my way a bit, and then that's when I started trying psychedelics, and that kind of changed my whole perception and everything. It's like the first time my brain started working.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say properly, but differently in my life. And I was like, wow, when I was watching stuff on philosophers and, Ubermensch and Nietzsche's thing on his definition of what a Superman would be if it was, instead of like physical strength, and that it was all how we viewed the world in our subconscious and our conscious mind. What is superhuman? Have you ever looked into that?
No, I haven't. No.
I did a little bit after
dude, you gotta look at this. It's called I'll send the link to Jake and you watch it, and it's Nietzsche. He's a psychologist from back in the days, and in just all these things I was watching Karl Marx about Marxism, which is like communism, that I was trying to understand that sort of stuff, and I've never really thought into it. And I spent like a good 6 months, well, probably more, probably 6 months smoking DMT, eating mushies and watching all that sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it could really change my understanding and perception on reality and time and space and society and social constructs. It completely changed my mind and perception on that.
The feeling I get whenever I'm on some sort of like say LSD or mushrooms or something is I feel like it's all a big game, and that we take it all too seriously. And last time I remember I was laying there, I was stretching. I was laying on a foam roller and I was stretching, and I was thinking about all just the bullshit, all like the white picket fence and this and that and the job and all this shit that really doesn't matter, and that it's all again, coming back to the present moment and how happy you are at the present time.
Well,
And it's
can I tell you this? Can I ask you this?
Yeah.
Like, isn't it all just a Western social construct?
Yeah, it's all programming.
Just a construct. It's just a programming construct that you have to do this. If you're not doing this, then you're not succeeding. If you ain't got to bought a house by the time you're 30, then you're not doing it. If you ain't got this amount of money in your house, in your bank, and this, that, and driving this sort of car and all that, you're not succeeding. But this is what I try and tell my kids, and especially my daughter, because she's on that sort of wavelength. They go, success is happiness. Success is doing whatever you want within the social constructs, what is socially deemed as acceptable. You know what I mean? Not doing what we want and hurting people. That's we don't socially accept that. So doing whatever you feel you want to do without hurting someone or meaning to hurt someone or physically hurting someone or causing pain or anger or discomfort for anyone, like living your life the way you want to live it without doing any of them sort of negative things. That's success.
Yeah, that's the same truth that you see all the Ram Dasses and the Wayne Dyers and all the gurus. They pretty well they say exactly what you just said. Then hey, they're like there's no rules, only.
No, there's no rules.
Yeah, like
There's no rules. It's not like I think the only rule is what is socially acceptable. So what we socially see, and I think we evolve over time. It's socially acceptable that you can have coloured people as slaves. You know what I mean? So we're constantly that's what's socially acceptable is evolving over time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we've come to this point where I think it's the end point now. Like there's not much more freedom in the Western world that we can give out. You know what I mean? Everything's pretty like you can basically do a lot of things. You know what I mean? A lot of things.
Yeah.
But I don't get this whole thing about legalities about what you can and can't put into your body. You know what I mean? Where it doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? To the point where it's like you can drink as much alcohol as you want, smoke as many cigarettes as you want, but you can't smoke weed. Like that's weird. That's weird to me. That's strange. Like it's super strange, and that goes back to I may be jumping from one thing to another here, but I get on a tangent. That's the ADHD going. So I get on my little tangents. I get on my little tangents, and my conversations jump from one thing to another. And that's ADHD. That's ADHD 101, man. Like.
Yeah, but that's just a title, man. That's just personality. You know what I mean? They've just put a title on it. Like that's just creativity. I think to a certain extent. You know what I mean? I think to a certain extent, but I know my brain don't function certainly like any other person that I know personally. Like my brain is
I'd agree.
It's a weird fucking place, man. Like my head, and we're learning. You know what the craziest things are too? Like. For instance, like they just found out like not too long ago that some people don't have an inner monologue.
Yeah, right.
So some people can't. How crazy is that? You know when you can read words and you read words in a book and you read them in your head and you have a voice in your head?
Mm.
Yeah.
Some people can't do that. Some people don't have a voice within their head.
Wow. I never even thought about that. Hey? Yeah. You never know what's going on.
Fucking dude, look it up, man. It's a legit thing. And all these legit, like how we perceive colors differently, like everyone perceives colors differently.
Mm.
And it's some crazy shit, man. Like crazy shit. Like when I went down that rabbit hole, like not too long ago, I was looking into the Large Hadron Collider, like smashing particles together over in Europe and that, and like how all these parallel dimensions and all these things stacked on top, like there's literal information out there that these quantum physicists have proven that these sort of things, like we live in parallel dimensions and we're stacked on top of each other, and all this crazy shit, and we're in the fourth dimensional supercomputer that we're plugged into, and we're like a 3-dimensional creation from a 4-dimensional supercomputer and shit. And all these crazy things that they talk about, like, you know, we think of science fiction, but these quantum physicists and mathematicians are working this shit out. And like the law of attraction is a literal thing. It's a quantified thing.
Yeah, definitely.
So the law of attraction is literal a quantified thing, and people can, like, there's studies out there from the CIA and all that shit that people can literally, like, fucking control positivity around them by having positive thoughts and bringing in positive energy. It's like a literal thing. It's fucking crazy, man. Like,
yeah, and you don't even need a study to know. Like, everyone knows that's sort of true. Like, when someone's super positive, it radiates around them, and the people that are negative and always talking about shit, they're going to get that. And how Jake and I were talking about the other night, like, the universe meets you as fast as you go towards it, which is basically the law of attraction. If you want your goal set and you start going at it, it'll come at you at the same pace that you're going at it until you both meet. And then you get what you want, or you get what you don't want.
But sometimes, you know what I mean? But how's it? Sometimes you don't get what you want, but you get what you need.
Yeah, so true.
How crazy is that?
Yeah.
So sometimes you be like, this is what I really want, and you put all your energy into it, and you don't get it. But in the process, you got what you needed. You got the lessons, and it taught you on how to fucking fail. And it taught you on how to struggle, and it taught you, you fucking found love. Was it hard? Yeah, it was hard. It was the most traumatic relationship of your life, but fuck, it was love, and you know that's what feeling you want, that love feeling. Yeah. You know what I mean? And sometimes the toughest fucking battles have the biggest impact on your life.
Yeah, fucking oath, man. That's crazy.
You know what I mean?
How was like, you know how we were having this deep conversation right now, like, how was it being plugged into the whole social thing, you know, leading up to that fight, and you know, having the fight, but just still knowing what you know, like you've grown, you know, lifetimes in the space between, you know, that 2-year period you had off, you know, coming into it. How was that for you? How was, like, did it feel much different?
No, it didn't feel different. There's a lot more doubts, you know, as you get older and as you're out of the ring for so long. And, you know, when you're younger, you have that shit training session and you're like, fuck, I had a shit training session. But when you're older and you have a shit training session and then you have a good one and then you have 2 shit ones in a row, you like you start questioning, like, fuck, you know, like, what the fuck's going on? Like, is this it? You know, is this like I'm not the same. So then doubts come a lot more, you know what I mean? Because when you're young, you can just bounce that off. Like, fuck, you know. There's no way that it could be my age because I'm only 25. I'm only 26 or 28 and I'm still, but you know, I'm in the 30s now, and the body takes longer to get into shape, and, you know, you're sore. But you know what? Sometimes I think, am I more sore than I was, and is my body harder to get? Is it really, or is that my mind playing tricks on me because that number's like in my head, like the 32? Yeah, you know what I mean? Is it really? You know, you these constant battles you have within your head, and you know, I had a lot of them, but you know, I think I overcome a lot of stuff in the training camp. I suffered with, like, I don't like talking about shit and being like, oh, I had this, that, because that's like, I'll never ever do that. Like, I'll never ever make excuses, because if it was bad enough, I would have pulled out of the fucking fight and lived to fight another day. So if you make it to the ring with an injury, you've dealt with that injury and you've accepted that you're not going to be 100% in the fight. So you can never use that as an excuse to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you've made it to weight, you've cut the weight, you've gone in, you jumped in the ring, you've carried that injury into the ring, and you've taken that risk, and you can never look back on it and be like, oh, I had that injury, so, you know, that's like that. So I'll never say that, but, you know, I had a few little things, and, you know, just the weight, like getting the weight off again, you know, I'm getting older, metabolism's slowing down, so it's harder to get down that weight, but I made the weight, and, you know, I felt good. I know things that I can do better next time to help me make it even easier.
Yeah.
And I think I'm more confident now that I've like I had this sudden epiphany the other day. I'm like, you know, because I think I fought well in the fight. It was like the fight was pretty even and close.
Yeah.
And I was fighting a guy that was like rated the top in the world. So,
yeah.
you know, I wasn't like I was fighting no one, and he's had a couple of big wins against a couple of top Australian fighters. So,
yeah.
you know, he's probably one of the top out there, and you know, the big risk taking him first fight back after 2 years off. But you know, the fight was even.
Fuck yeah.
The fight was even. The fight was even, and then just the style. You know, it just had that head clash and opened up a big cut, and
yeah.
they were going to stop the fight then and there. And the only reason they didn't is because I said, let's go back to the corner. And when they looked at in the corner and they looked at the positioning of it, it was just like, it's just going to run into your eye. It's never going to get better, and you're never going to give yourself the best opportunity to win the fight. All you're going to do is go out there and risk damaging it even more.
For sure.
And being out for even longer. For what? To win, like, to possibly lose the fight because it'll go to the scorecards before the fight's even finished. You know what I mean? Why would you risk that?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I would have kept fighting on, like, because I'm a fighter. You know what I mean? And that's what I do. But you know, in hindsight, looking back on it, the best decision was to not fucking go back in there. But they were going to stop it anyway. Whether we stopped it, they were going to stop it.
Yeah, for sure. No, it was fucking. It looked really, really even. How was the style? You know, he kept walking forward. You know. What was it like?
Tough fight. It was a tough fight, man. He's a tough opponent. He's a very tough opponent. Tough fight. You know, I think I would have approached the fight a little bit more different if I had it back. I would approach it a little bit more different. I think I had like I said, that sudden epiphany of like, you know, I just got to go out there and next one and be 100% myself and have fun. And, you know, being myself, I've been watching, like, I follow UFC heaps, man.
Yeah.
And I just been watching, like I love Israel Adesanya. I love how confident he is, and I love his, like, how he just, you know, how he just owns everything. Like, he owns everything, and, you know, he just, he owns everything, the good and the bad. You know, he made fun of himself when, you know, he had that shit fight against who's the
Romero,
Romero. When he had that shit, he owned it. He's like, and I remember him posting the meme. He goes, "Get yourself a man that can do both," and it's like best fight in UFC middleweight history. It was his fight with Gastelum.
Yeah, Gastelum. That was fucking sick.
Gastelum, that fight, and it was like a mad fight. And then the fight against Romero, and he was making fun of himself. You know, he's like, "Get yourself a man that can do both, have the best fight and also the shittest title fight." And you know, that sort of thing. Like, he doesn't take himself seriously, but not too seriously. Where he's not himself. He's 100% himself when he fights as well. And you know, I think I had that sudden epiphany. Is like, fuck, just be yourself. You know, be yourself, you know. And I think all the thoughts and the negative thoughts about it, can I do it? Can I make the camp? Can I get through the camp? That's all gone now. So, you know, next camp I want to be even better and even more confident, and then just 100% be myself. So, you know, I'm looking forward to it.
Fuck yeah, man. It was so good to see you back. Yeah, we bought it here at home and we were just sitting on the couch, man. Like, it's so funny just sitting on the couch having a little feed, like, while you're going through one of the most intense experiences of your life. Like,
fucking hit him.
Hit him. Like, I felt like it, like, bro, I felt like, because I knew you, I was like, fuck, it just felt like I've only ever had that when I watch Conor McGregor fight, because I love him so much. So I must love you the same amount, because I was just sitting there with butterflies going, fuck, right in my solar plexus, hey. I was just like,
yeah, it's always the same spot.
Heart
chakra.
No, I never get that for me. I always get it for people that I care about.
For sure, eh?
But I never get it for myself. No. It's weird. Like, I never get the butterflies. I never get that. Oh my god! Like, like that. Holy fuck! I never get that intenseness. But when someone else, one of my mates is fighting, I'm like fucking sitting there. I look like a crack addict. I'm like rocking back and forward, and I'm like watching intensely, chewing my fingernails. Like it's weird, dude.
I think that's a common thing. Hey, I got the same thing. Like would you to battle fear leading up to a fight? Would you say that just try and be yourself? Because I noticed on my last fight, I wouldn't say I was afraid, but I definitely wasn't as confident as my first fight. And I know it changed the way I fought because I fought differently. I was like, what the fuck am I doing? And it really gassed me really quickly. And my fitness was good, but I couldn't handle the adrenaline dump. So is there a tip that you like to handle the adrenaline dump? You know what I mean? Handle that, because that feeling.
I'm real good at the adrenaline dump because I don't really I'm not pumped up out the back in the change rooms. I'm really relaxed and shit, and I only really get the adrenaline dump when my music comes on and when I'm walking out. So I get the adrenaline then. Mm-hmm. So my adrenaline dumps when I'm usually fighting and shit.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm lucky in that aspect of it. You know what I mean? Like I don't like build myself up out in the dressing room. I'm really chilled. So yeah, I think that plays a lot in my favor in that. But yeah, I'm just it's the weirdest feeling, eh? Like, you know, and I think like back to what you were saying at the start, should that be the key? I think so. You know, if you've got a smart trainer and stuff, you can like change things in your game plan to, you know, that still suit you and that can kind of expose a weakness of the person that you're fighting. Mm-hmm. See, that's the whole game plan. You know what I mean? Is like do what you do best and add things in that may expose the weaknesses of your opponent. Like you got to be able to adapt to every opponent. Some have to adapt a lot. Some people have God-given talents like power. Right, so that allows you to not have to adapt very much. You may change a sequence of punches, a combination of punches, a combination of punches followed by, if you're talking about, you know, MMA, maybe a combination of punches and then followed by a takedown. You know, these little things change when you got big attributes or you're really good at something.
Mm-hmm. Fuck, that's
you
cool.
know,
Yeah,
does that make sense?
Yeah.
Definitely, man.
Sure.
Yeah. I got in a bit of a ramble. Then, but
no, that's
how
the shit we love.
you know, like when I talk about how people's that's how my brain works. Like my brain works really different, and I kind of break things down, and you know, like Khabib, right? Khabib Magnomenov. He doesn't have to change much about what he does, because what he does is so effective. So he may look, when he's fighting Conor, he may have looked for the left hand, so he may not have dipped a certain way, or, you know, the way Conor fights, he may have just changed a few things to expose that, but he just done what he done. And he does what he does best, and just steamrolled and just got in the clinch and just absolutely ragdolled him and ground and pounded him. That's what he does. Okay. And that's what, you know, that's the same as Adesanya. He's good at what he does, and that's striking. So he wants to keep it up where he's long and flashy, and he's got time to, you know, look flashy and make them large explosive movements and use his distance and range and his hand-eye coordination. So he wants to be doing that predominantly. So as long as he's doing that, he's in his element.
Yeah, so many different styles, eh?
Yeah, for sure.
And dude, there's so many different styles, and like just in boxing, and then you know you got and then when I get like I love MMA. Like I love MMA. I love mixed martial arts. It's my favorite. I prefer it. I actually prefer watching it over boxing now.
Wow,
because
crazy.
I think because you know why? Because there's only one champion, and the best fight each other, and the best fight each other every fight card.
Yeah, so true.
Like every fight card, there's a cracker. And then I don't know how many times through the year I go, that's the best fight I've ever seen. And then 2 shows later, I'm like, oh my God, did you just see that fucking fight? That was the best fight I've ever seen. And then 3, they're like, and then you got a local, just a fight night card, not even the UFC 204s or anything, just a fight night card. And then you got 2 guys that could easily be headlining one of them cards are fighting each other, and you're like, what the fuck? And then they have the best fight that you've ever seen. And it's not even the fucking UFC fight night card. It's just like like the main event card. It's just like a fight night card. And this happens consistently every card throughout the year, and they do so many cards.
Fuck man, yeah, it's so true, eh? Like, and it's just like I can't follow boxing. Like, no offense to boxing, it's hard to follow because there's so many belts and different organizations where it's the UFC is just one thing. It's easy for people like me to just go like, that's the champ. You know what I mean?
You know, it'd be good. Imagine having a cross promotional one like you had, like the champions of UFC fight the champions of one.
Yeah, fuck yeah, man.
And then you add Bellator in there, and then you have like, and Strikeforce or whatever it is, and then you add like a 4 of them, and you do like the champs from each weight in every one go on like a 2 versus 2, and then the winners fight each other in the final. Like, you know what I mean?
Like
something like that, or like a round robin. That'd be sick.
Yeah, I'm excited to see Israel fight Jan. And then imagine if Israel fights John Jones one day. That'll just be, I'll be so happy if that ever happens. Eh? It's like Christmas for me.
I mean, that's a big like that. That fella, the light heavyweight champ, he's an animal.
Yeah, he's a big boy.
Like he's an animal, dude. Like the two knockouts that he just got was like, dang. Like he knocked out that Reyes that last fight, stopped him. And the one before that, he fought that Anderson. I think Anderson.
Yeah.
He knocked Anderson out. He knocked Anderson out with a short right hand, and then he hurt Reyes and then just swarmed him and that. And it's like, dude, he's on a steamroll. You know what I mean? So it's a big thing for
that you can never.
To go for light heavy.
You can never really pick it. Like, and I love that anything can sort of happen all the time. Like you're like, fuck. Like you really think that person's gonna win, and then they just get tagged all of a sudden, some random little fucking heel hook, or they
get caught in a bad position, or like, you know, the rounds are a little bit longer, so I think there's obviously 2 minutes more of shit that can happen, you know, than boxing or any other fight code. You know, fight codes like kickboxing and Muay Thai, I think they're still all 3-minute rounds.
Yeah.
And so you add an extra 2 minutes onto it in a round, there's more chance of shit happening, and happen it does. And it always happens, man. It always happens. And there's so many different fighting styles. And, some like heaps of fights, I look at it and I'm like, I don't know. I can't even pick it. I can't even pick.
Fuck, it's gotten sick. Like, man, I'm so grateful for the time we had. You know, I've only ever had one boxing coach, and that's been you. But I was super grateful for that. And since you've been gone, man, the coast has just kind of fucking gone nuts with like mixed martial arts, and there's clubs everywhere, and you know, it's nuts now. Have you been back up for a visit?
No, I haven't been back up for a while.
Fuck, gotta get you back up here, eh? Get you in the studio.
Yeah, I will. Well, who knows what's going on with all this fucking COVID stuff? You know, you're never gonna know when we can do anything or what's going on. We might, Brisbane's going into a 3-day lockdown because they've got the UK strain of COVID there, and Sydney's half in lockdown, and like I don't watch the news much until I'm just like, oh fuck, I literally have no idea what shit they're feeding us, so I better turn it on. And I turn it on and I'm like, oh, America's lady gets shot in the bloody riots in the Parliament House thing in America, and I'm like, oh shit, there we go, America's burning down and COVID's everywhere, and fucking all right. And then I'm like, that's enough news for me for 5 minutes. That 5 minutes of news was well enough for me for the next month. I'm gonna go back into my hermit hole and, you know, chill out and do cool shit with my kids and do paintings and ride scooters around the community here, and yeah, do all that fun shit, and then I'm like, oh fuck, better check if we're going to be invaded soon, just so I know, so I know what the go is. Like,
Yeah, people.
yeah, it's just
People let it disturb their peace, their own peace, and they're living in a nice little suburban town, and like, you know what I mean, and letting this news disturb their own peace. It's like the good quote by Alan Watts is like you wake up on a Monday morning and you're thinking about all the shit you got to get done for the week, and it's
I love Alan Watts.
And it's making you feel rushed when it's really you're just laying in bed, you know, and it's like it's spot on. It's like fuck, you're just laying in bed. But you're thinking about all this stuff, and then it's raising your cortisol and disturbing your peace. When it's all, you know, you're just laying in bed. Like it's always the same rule for healing with all this stuff is that you always just come back to the present moment. And when you come back to the present moment and you like just appreciate everything, it's like fuck, you know, appreciate everything and celebrate the little wins.
Yeah, that's it, man. I love Alan Watts, by the way. I like Alan Watts and Terence McKenna. I listen to a lot of Terence McKenna. I love Terence McKenna.
Yeah,
he's a man.
Fuck. Yeah, he's a man.
Listen to a lot of Uncle Joe.
Uncle Joe?
Uncle Joe Rogan.
Oh yeah. Fucking earth, he's Uncle Joe.
We're on Uncle name to name basis, man. No, yeah, I watch a lot of Joe Rogan
He's
and
the
stuff,
man.
and yeah, I like some of the people he gets on. Sometimes it's not just him; it's the people that he gets on his show.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like you get some really, really cool people on the show, and I like to hear what their opinions are on it and on whatever it is. You know, talk like it covers a lot of broad spectrums on his show and that. And
that's why I like. When you were talking before about like the atoms smashing together with it, doing those labs in like wherever Sweden or something, you know what I mean? I remember Sam Harris went on the Joe Rogan show and talking about everything in this earth, in this universe is just atoms. And when you put them together in certain ways, it creates anything. It creates this chair, it creates me, it creates the iPad sitting in front of me. And he goes, it's totally appropriate. It's not outside the line of possibility that we can create a machine that joins atoms, creates things, and then you send this machine into space, it finds water, finds all these atoms, creates things, and it create worlds, and then create more of itself to create things, and basically an AI that can create a universe.
Yeah. I've been watching crazy. I watched these other like videos about all this crazy hypotheses and stuff, and like a Dyson sphere. Have you heard of that?
I've heard the name, but I don't know about it.
So Dyson sphere is where they use the sun's energy to become into the planetary rulers and stuff. Basically, like you use the power of the sun and you encase the sun in something and use that power and like power machines to make crazy. It's crazy, all these crazy things, right? And yeah, one of them was about what you were saying, like the stuff that you were just saying. Yeah,
you create.
I've been watching, like create stuff and like how you make it, and they were talking about supercomputers and stuff like that, and explaining what a supercomputer is, and you know, and another crazy thing that I read about that they found out like recently is like our space, right? So they recently, up until recently, believed that our space, like everything that's made up, everything was smooth, like the space-time continuum and everything in our known universe was smooth. Yeah. But because of this large hydrogen collider and smashing particles together, they've smashed all these little things, and they've found out that our universe, our dimension, everything is just continuous building blocks of tetrahedrons, which are like three-dimensional triangles just stacked on top of each other infinite. So we're not smooth, we're pixelated, like
Geometry.
a TV.
Geometry, like in DMT, eh?
Dude, it's crazy.
Yeah. I don't know if you saw that, but when I did DMT, I saw everything was geometry, and I saw myself from outside of my body, and I saw the room above me. But I still say to this day, I could see everyone's faces. I could see the way they were looking at me. I could see the insecurity of me looking like I was having a fit on the couch. But I was visually seeing them and my own body from above. And the most amazing thing is everyone was in a certain spot in the room. I fell from the sky back into my body, fell into my eyes, and everyone was right where I saw them from above.
Holy shit.
So I was like, what the fuck is that? Like, I don't even know. And I didn't even know anything about it. I was just like, yeah, have this. And I saw this lady with snakes in her hair, almost like a mother archetype. It's like, slap me in the back of the head. Like, what are you doing, mate? You know what I mean?
Wow.
And,
the stuff I've seen on it is like, so I did it about 25 times over 1 year.
mm-hmm.
So I went deep. Like I was going deep because once I tried it first, I was like, oh my God, like this is just unbelievable. And I just kept trying it. And sometimes I was doing it twice a night. I did it like 7 times in 2 weeks. I was doing it like every second night I was doing it, and sometimes twice a night. Mm-hmm. That's like 14 times in 2 weeks. Like it was, and then I got fucking, like, I tell you, wherever it takes you, it's not all sunshine and lollipops and rainbows.
Yeah.
Sometimes it takes you to some really dark places, and it asks you some really fucked up questions, and it shows you some really bad energies. Yeah. Definitely some bad energies out there.
Do you remember the first? Can you explain your first experience? Can you remember it sort of? Because I know it's a bit like a dream, but
So this is my first experience. I got it from someone, and I was sitting on my couch and I smoked it, right? And then my wife was in there, the TV was on, the lights were on. There wasn't really like a Zen moment. And I smoked it, but when I breathed it in, I didn't breathe it all the way in and hold it very long. I breathed it in, and because of the taste of it, it's a really strange taste. I wasn't expecting it, and I coughed it straight up. But I'd had it, like with DMT, only into a little bit, so I had enough for it just to fucking just trip me the fuck out. Like, sound was distorted, and I couldn't speak, but it was in this bubble of this. And I was looking into the TV, and I could see like past the pixels of the TV, and yeah, like everything, like geometric shapes. It's like a world that's invisible gets overlaid over this world, and you see these geometric shapes and shit moving and impossibilities. And then, you know, like everything was just distorted and weird. And that come back to my body, and the whole time I was looking at my missus. I'm like, oh, I know she's freaking out, but I can't. I wish I could tell her that I'm okay, but I'm fine.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I come back to my body. I come back to my body, and she goes, "What was it like?" And I go, "Oh, I didn't like. It's not what what I thought it'd be, but I don't think I did enough, and I don't think I smoked it properly." And I go, "But it's crazy, it's weird." And I go, "I'm gonna go do it again." And she goes, "What now?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm going to go sit in the garage, and I'm going to turn the lights off, and I'm going to do it again." So I sat down, centered myself, really, like got in the Zen moment, and then I took one big hit, and as soon as I breathed it in, you know when you cut yourself or you break your arm, you grab it, and you're like, I don't want to look, and your stomach drops out your ass, and then you get that like rush of adrenaline, you're like, oh no, what have I done?
Yeah.
Or like you jump off something and you know you're going to hit the ground and fuck yourself out, and time sort of freezes and you're like, oh fuck, what have I done?
Yeah.
Or you get that times about 50.
Holy
it is
shit.
It's the most fearful thing that you could ever imagine. Like your heart drops out your stomach, your heart drops out your ass, and you're like, oh my God, no, what have I done? Holy fuck, I don't want this. And that's just your ego and your body trying to hold on to your consciousness, because it doesn't want to be separate. Your conscious wants to stay inside your body. It doesn't want to leave. Your body doesn't want to let go of it. So you're sitting there and you're like, oh fuck, what have I done? What have I done? I start like coughing and I can't breathe. And like all this like kind of like paint was shooting out of my mouth, and my head split in half and like become like circled around and become a head again. And I can't breathe. And then this voice, like, and then I start thinking, I'm like, I can't breathe. I'm going to die here. And that's it. And I'm like, it become real peaceful. It's like, you're going to die. And I'm like, you? Who are you? and it just went on to them really trippy questions. And them them literal questions that trippy people that you think would trip out on something like that would get asked. Like in movies, you know, when, oh, dude, who am I? It's like the cliche questions.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I'm dying. What is dying? What is death? Death is this. Are you dying? Or what is? And it was just that. What is it? What does it mean? Were you really alive? Are you even alive? What are you? What is human? Are you human? Like what defines a human? And it was just them weird questions. And then my garage went like streams of light, and I hit this portal, this tunnel, and I shot out the other side. And you would resonate very much with this, Jake. You know when you're on a wave and you get dunked, and you're under the water, and you don't know which way is up or down, and you're a bit disorientated, and you're kind of just floating around, and then the waves are like the next one, and you're just getting pushed back and forward and around like a washing machine. And then you come back, and then you get your head up, and you take one breath, and then you see, holy fuck, the next wave's coming, and it pushes you back down. All right, that's what my experience was. I was just getting around in a washing machine to these different worlds and dimensions. It's like, look at this, look at that, have a look at this. There's aliens. What are aliens? There's this. And then I come back to my body, for a sec, and open my eyes in the garage, and then I have like a vapor trail of about 16 fingers behind my hands that I was waving in front of me. And then my eyes would roll back, and it was like another wave had hit me and pushed me under, and I would like get a breath with it. And I'm like, I'm back to my body. Oh, fuck, not again. Boom. And I'd just be like under in different dimensions and places and that. And this voice come over, and it kind of basically said, like, you're just here to see, you're not here to learn. So just look and listen, like just look and listen. And I just looked and listened and seen all these possibilities and probabilities and seeing these, like, how do I explain it? See these structures that are just, they're not from this world. There's no way you could possibly ever recreate these structures, these creations, these things that are in these worlds. You can never recreate them. It's just impossible. It's impossible structures. And yeah, the way the world is constructed, the worlds are constructed are just super strange. And you can have these really abstract visions where everything's just really strange and like it's just inconceivable, or you can have these visions where you see like actual beings and you're yourself and you have hands and you know you're third person, or you can watch yourself. Like I've watched myself. I've become a cell floating around my own body and shit. I've become a fetus, and I shot down the umbilical cord of this fetus of light and landed in this mechanical world with these 3 mechanical beings sending versions of my soul to different bodies and different dimensions and shit.
Fuck, isn't it amazing?
That's fucking cool.
Isn't it amazing that like I had the thing where I couldn't breathe too, and how I saw my body floating, but like I couldn't breathe, and I was trying to find my arms, and I got the feeling of Ganesh, like the elephant with like the 8 arms, and I was trying to find myself, and then I couldn't breathe, so I was like going like, oh, exhale, and then all of a sudden it was like it was like the first breath of life, and that was the breath of letting go and just letting it happen, because I was trying to fight it, exactly like you said. And isn't it amazing that happened to me? And that's happened to multiple people. You can Google all these stories.
Well, that's the thing about DMT. Everyone accounts very, very similar visions and experiences. Like there's these certain things that a lot of people see when they go there, like jokers, mechanical elves, beings of light, women of light, structures. Like it's very, very similar, and they always have these sort of feelings and realizations and that. And
yeah. I can't believe you just said Joker, because my friend saw the Joker. Hey, my friend saw a jester at a door, like sort of
Jester, yeah, the Jester, like on the back of the car, it's a Joker.
Yeah, that's what he saw. Isn't that amazing? He didn't read anything about that either. Like, what the fuck is that?
So isn't that crazy that I just said that.
Yeah.
And you're like, it's I'm telling you, there's something about it, and it's found in our bodies naturally produce it, and it releases in our bodies. They don't know much about it, but they know that our body naturally produces it. And animals have it within their body. The
serotonin.
No. What's that desert? The Saronan Desert in Mexico. There's a Saronan toad or something. The toad has it in its poison gland.
Yeah.
But it's a little bit different chemical compound. You got 5-MeO-DMT and 5-11-hydroxy, or the DDH methyltryptamine DMT. Like, there's a whole chemical thing. So there's two different ones, and one's from the plant, but you can get the 3-MeO-DMT from plants as well. But yeah, it's crazy. It's in plants, it's in grasses, it's in us, it's in toads, I reckon it's like, video games. You know how there's like little cheat codes in video games?
Yeah.
Like let's say Mario, he eats a mushroom, he gets super big, and he eats this other thing, and he shoots fire out of his fucking face, and like imagine this is just a game, and these are just the cheat codes that have been put there. Like all these natural things, and all these other things are just like distractions from, life, really, and then there's certain people that are their main, everyone talks about good and evil, right? And how good and evil, and like everyone wants to get rid of evil altogether. So there's no evil in the world and there's only good. But whatever becomes your normality becomes life. Like, it becomes the normal life. So like, you only had good, you wouldn't know what good is anymore. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, polar opposites.
Yeah, there has to be a polar opposite. There has to be negative to be positive. There has to be good to be evil. You know what I mean? And I just think, everyone's quick to say, oh, we've got to get like all this shit that's going on at the moment with this whole fucking like stuff in America and Black Lives Matter and all this stuff and all this. It's weird times we live in, man. It's the super fucking strange times. Like, I don't really understand what the fuck is going on at the moment. We've got like a global pandemic that's shut down the world. We got fucking this whole like president election shit going on. We got fucking like that child sex pedophile ring thing that's going on all over the world, and it's just super, super weird times, man. It's hard to grasp onto anything.
Yeah, it's just like we're shining a light on all these little things when really you think, fuck, like, 50 years ago we were slaughtering, we weren't, but everyone's slaughtering Jews, you know what I mean? And then before that, people were killing each other with swords and shit, and just like over magic or over this god and that god. Like, it's all just being a light's just shining on it now. Just the craziness of humans. Yeah. Humans.
It's weird. It's weird, man. It is this weird times we live in, and it's hard to really grasp onto shit at the moment. Like, I think everyone's kind of going through it. When you deep down into your subconscious, into your heart, and you're like, wow, like, what is going on at the moment? Like, what is happening? Like, do we really trust the people that are like running these countries and that are pulling the strings? Like, do they really have our best interests at heart?
No.
You know what I mean? And like, it's just, a lot of people I just find it weird. Like, a lot of people that you didn't think were thinking the same things as you are thinking the same things as you now. And people from like completely different backgrounds.
Yeah.
I like start being like, hey, this is a bit sus. You're like, hey, yeah, I think that's a bit sus. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it is, man. It is really sus, and that's why we've got to think for ourselves. Hey, you got to unplug from the matrix and start to listen to your heart and let your heart be your compass.
Yeah, I don't know whether I'm jumping around to like 150 different topics now, but
no, it's been good, man. It's been good.
I'm just speaking whatever pops into my head. You know what I mean? And it's just. Yeah, it's a weird time we're living in now, man.
I love that. I love that though, man. I remember when we used to train, you were always like that, and it made training so fun. Like, just be laughing about funny shit and then it'd be something completely different. Like, I don't reckon ever lose that. That's you. That's who you
Yeah,
are.
oh man, that's like I've done a lot of growing over time, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
over the last, like, you know, having I've got 5 kids, man, like having 5 kids.
Holy shit, yeah, it's crazy.
And then getting married and you know,
Yeah.
moving away from all the people that you thought were friends and like losing friends and then gaining like lifelong friends like your kids and shit. It like reevaluates a lot of things and a lot of insecurities, a lot of self-consciousness things, and like the way you view yourself and how serious you view yourself. And isn't it weird? Like, I had this sudden epiphany the other day. I'm like, isn't it weird how if we hear that someone doesn't like us, we get like a little bit of a, oh really? Like, oh, I wonder, like, and you get that little bit like, oh really? Someone doesn't like me? You get that kind of like, I used to get it. Well, maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just speaking for me.
No,
but I think everyone
it.
in their life, listen, everyone in their life has been through it. Whether when you're a little kid, like, oh, blah, blah, blah doesn't like you. He reckons your Pokemon cards suck. You're like, you haven't even got a shiny Charizard, you little bitch. And then you're like, and then you're not telling me that you haven't been like, oh, shit, Daryl doesn't think I'm cool. He hates my Pokemon cards. Everyone's felt that at some stage in their life. And I've even felt like that as an adult, like this person doesn't like you. And I used to be like, oh, really? Fuck, that's a bit, I wonder what I've done. And then I just stopped giving a fuck. Like, I stopped giving a fuck. But I also understood myself a bit better. I was like, how come it's okay for me in my head to look at someone and go, I don't really like that person. But if someone says it about me, then I'm like, I get a little bit offended, like, oh. Like, and that's such a fucking pride thing, and that's one thing that I've like got rid of over this time since, you know, me and you have gone our separate ways. We've always remained in contact, but you know, since we haven't been training and, you know, in as much contact, that's one of the things that I've grown as a human, is just like, you know, it's okay. It's okay. Yeah. I know. I fucking listen. My wife loves me so much, and I'm not her cup of tea 95% of the time. But she loves me for the 5% because I'm a cracker. Yeah. If that 5% of me is the 5% that she loves of me is a fucking cracker. But that 95% is just as shit as cunt, and that's okay. That's okay.
I think you're selling yourself short there. You're going to be
I may be over-exaggerating. I'm just cutting myself. Yeah. I'm my own worst critic. Everyone always is their own worst critic. Yeah, sure. But, you know, whatever percent it is, whether it's half the time, whether it's 40% of the time, whether it's 60%, whatever it is, my missus is just like, fuck off. But she loves me so much for that, whatever the remaining percent is. Yeah. And you just fucking, you know, and that's how it is. And if my own missus hates my guts 40% of the time, then these random strangers, they're fucked. There's a lot of people that ain't gonna like me, and that is so okay. That is so okay. And I've come to grow with, like, I am not everyone's cup of tea.
Yeah, and you got to be okay with that.
Like, I talk way too much shit. I'm too loud for most people. I'm always the loudest, and not because I choose to be. It's just who I am, man. I just subconsciously raise the bar. If someone's crazier, I'm louder and crazier and do more outlandish shit. And it's not because I'm a tryhard. It's always what I've been like. I've always been the fucking loudest, craziest, like, most out there dude possible. And not everyone likes that. And that's okay. And I've come to accept that, and our individualities. And I see it in my kids heaps. That's a fucking eye opener, dude. Like, you want to open your eyes, have fucking kids.
Yeah.
Dude, have fucking kids. That will change your shit the fuck up. Yeah. That will change you up, man. That will change your perception on everything.
Fucking oath.
And you see these fucking little human beings that you have control over, and you're trying to, what are you trying to do with them? Everyone's trying to do different shit with them. I'm just trying to give my kids the best tools to be the best adults they can be.
Yeah.
Man, like you were
That's
saying.
what I'm trying to do. But other people have different philosophies on how they raise their kids. But that's just what I try and do. Raise my kids in a way to give them the best opportunity to live the happiest life and to be the best kids they can possibly be, best adults they can possibly be.
Like you were saying.
And that's crazy because I've got 5 kids that want 5 completely different things from me. They're 5 completely different human beings raised in the same house that communicate different, that are different, that like different things, that socialize differently, that want different things. And that's a fucking head fuck.
Yeah, that is fucking crazy.
Yeah, that's
a head fuck, dude.
Well, Jake's got a little dog now, at least. So that's a taste.
Yeah, I got a taste of it. I got a puppy.
Start small. Don't jump into it. Don't jump into it.
No.
Like it ain't a game. Like, and like people are like, we have some kids, and then people joke about it, like, oh, yeah, you see when the kid's coming, ho 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 ho. Like nigga, don't fuck around with that shit. Like
it's a life. Yeah.
It's full on, man. It's full on. It'll change your shit up.
Yeah.
It'll change your shit up hard. And
those kids.
man, it's been an eye-opener for me. It's been a complete eye-opener for me, and I'm loving the journey of being a dad and raising 5 kids and a little man and 1 little girl. And
that's fucking
cool,
awesome.
Dude.
And this podcast has been fucking all time, and I think you will help a lot of people, like just with your words, because you really come across like you bridge the gap of the mind with that DMT stuff. You really put it into a way, you speak it in a way that I can understand. My mind can kind of get a glimpse of it, which is fucking hard to do. So I think it's going to help a lot of people.
Terence McKenna does that for me.
Yep.
Terence McKenna does that for me, and that's what I try and do when I kind of explain it, because his vocabulary and the way he explains it is just sometimes he's got me. I'm like, oh my god, that's it. Like, because it slowly slips away from you. You know what I mean? And when you hear him talk about it, it's like, oh my god, yes, I get that.
Yeah.
I couldn't explain it as good as he does. His eloquent. What's that? Eloquent?
Eloquent. Yeah, eloquent. Yeah.
The way he eloquently puts it, man, it's just, it rolls off his tongue, and it's just so perfect. So.
Yeah, that's.
But that's what I try and do: spread a bit of knowledge and share my story, and
So good, bro. What's next for you before we wrap it up? What's in the what's your goals this year?
Back to training next week. Hopefully get a fight locked in, but again, we've got to see what's going on with the COVID stuff, and just stay fit. I had a little bit of time off, but looking forward to getting back into training next week, and just hopefully have a couple of fights if we can this year, and then hopefully get a title, get some regional titles, get world rated again. Hopefully grow my kind of this business sort of thing that I got in my head. I want to do a lot of cultural stuff with, schools and businesses and big businesses and stuff, and do art workshops and cultural workshops and cultural awareness training and sort of things like that. So that's what I want to get into a lot more this year, and, working with the youth and that, and, watch my kids grow and be happy, and, get a little bit more financial freedom, and but it's always hard when you're raising 5 kids. You know what I mean? That's a hard thing to do, but I'll get there. I've got some plans this year.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, be a lot more. What's the word? Organized with my painting stuff and my business stuff. Being organized with it and just trying to be better and be happier, man. That's the key. If I'm living a happy life and less stress and less, the less I stress, the better. Yeah. That's the plan.
Yep.
Nice, man.
I love that.
It's been a good chat, man. It was good to communicate about that sort of stuff. It was good to hear. And
man, I appreciate it. Thanks for having us on, and we can make it a reg. We can make it a reg.
Man, love that shit. We'll get the video. We'll get the video going next time.
Yeah, for sure, man. For sure. I've got to splash out and get myself like a good laptop or good computer or something like that.
Yeah, fuck yeah, bro.
Stuff like that, because I want to get want to get into doing a bit more digital art and stuff too in the future.
Yeah.
So that'd be cool. I've got to do your painting too one day.
Oh,
Jakey.
fucking oath, 100%, man. Yeah, well, corrective culture's going really well up here, and we'd love to have some art in the in the studio. Cool. We'd love to do some training with you too, man. If you ever come up, time swap for some strength stuff, for some boxing stuff, or.
Oh, dude, 100%. I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot more even since then. You know, I've learned so much more. I've learned so much more.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to teach you and work with you and that. And yeah, for sure, we'll be in touch. And keep doing what you're doing, boys. I love seeing all your stuff, and I'll keep in touch, eh?
Yeah, awesome, sounds good, man. Thanks so much for your time, brother, and much love.
Much love, mate. See you later.
Appreciate it, boys. Take care.
See you, my brother.
See you, brother. Bye.